Oh shit, we've been live. Here we go.
Oh, beautiful.
What was that? Never mind that. What was that?
Hi!
Who are you?
BARFF!
Not in here, mister. This is a Mercedes.
Nah, that's my name. BARFF!
BARFF? What are you?
And here we go after a little premature start to the show, which would be a complete turnaround from the past because we rarely are ahead of schedule.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, I hit start instead of just choosing the podcast. So this is the Bar Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Brian the Commish. We're going to get the camera working in 1 second here. I'm joined in the studio live, back together in the studio. The greatest co-host in all of sports and owner of Born to Run, Walt's here. Walt, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's nice to be back on the mothership again.
Yeah, we are back in the bunker. If anyone is watching and sees any issues, as usual, give us a buzz because who can know? We did 10 minutes of silence last week and that wasn't great. So hopefully all that is cleaned up. We're going to get the cameras started and we are going to talk about bracketology this week because we are heading into starting in roughly an hour the first game of week 14.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. This is the final week of the BARFF regular season.
This is it, and we better not lose sound. I have a lot to talk about.
There are grievances to be aired.
Oh, yeah.
I am sure that we're going to have a lot of people with the same wish to come in and really just vent about what went on last week. One owner in particular, I think outside of you, has quite a case for grievance.
I'm sure I know who that might be because both of us are not too happy after last week.
All right.
Oh,
so,
look at that. On cue, right?
Joining us on the line, this is the owner of Sotie Pantloads. Kyle's on the line. Kyle, how are you?
Commish BTR, doing well in my playoff spot right now.
Don't count your chickens, my friend. We've got a lot to talk about, and you and I are not in the greatest of positions, even though it was great to get a win last week. So.
You should be arrested for fraud because that's I'm just disgusted by you and your point total.
You're not looking at the city, buddy. You gotta look at the past 3 weeks. I said when my team gets healthy, that's when I'll start popping up.
Oh yeah, all right.
I love it. All right, well, so when we're talking about what went on last week, it was an exciting week in BARFF, literally coming down to the last play. Where do you want to start this discussion?
We'll just do this game just because we have to. You know, worst team ever. It's kind of has phoned it in now, and so let's talk about worst team ever. No lineup.
Worst team ever.
Rushing defeat.
No lineup needed. Worst team ever got smoked by our number one team. I'm sorry. Hold on. This is gonna come up. By no lineup needed. Sitting in third place. Christian moves to 7-6, and worst team ever falls to 3-10. Another power outage in a year of power outages. Well, what happened with worst team ever this week?
It's too bad. I do actually. Some part of me feels bad for worst team ever. You get McCaffrey back. You think you're going to on a roll, and then he was what? He had 53 yards on like 7 carries against Buffalo. He looked like he was going to have a monster game. And then he hurts himself, and I think that pretty much sums up worst team ever's year in a nutshell right there.
Kyle, can Tyler, if put in a position to do so, can he draft Christian McCaffrey ever again?
Oh, I think even if he gets the first overall pick, he's trading down. I don't think he even wants the first pick again.
I don't think
he shouldn't. He shouldn't. He should not take it. In fact, Kyle, I'm going to have a follow-up. Will I see worst team ever win a BARFF championship in my lifetime?
I think my grandson has a better shot at seeing WTE.
Which might be my replacement for the league. So,
that's what I'm saying. When it's his turn to take the reins of BTR, I think that's when BTR will see WTE.
I'm not sure I'm going to see it now. After another year of failure for worst team ever.
That's insane. While we're talking, I'm just going to do a quick check of the chat. No one is on right now, so we'll look back. Part of no lineups big week outside of Lamar being Lamar. That crazy game with Cleveland and Denver and David Njoku, Knucklehead's cast off comes up with 26.2 big points.
I mean, who could have saw that game being
insane.
That game, it was like one of the best games
That
I've
was
seen.
so
It
much
was
fun.
so good to watch.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going crazy. Denver's defense scoring at will at the end, and Njoku scoring. Wow, it was just insane. So
That's
yeah,
pretty crazy.
yeah, no lineup again. They got just a solid lineup, basically.
They do.
They really do. So, maybe we will see a first-time winner this year for a championship.
There's a couple of teams right now, and we're going to talk about them both, that have been pretty red hot coming into the second half of the season, and they are both would be first-time winners.
Yep.
I'm talking about No Lineup Needed and Whopper Moppers. They are really tearing it up in the second half, and that makes me nervous for next week. But we'll get to that when we talk about next week. Where do you want to go for last
Well,
week?
let's talk about your big win. I'd say probably your franchise's biggest win in
It's been a long
10
time.
years,
Yeah.
I would say. That was a
Yeah.
huge win.
Yeah, and I will say you can critique my team's power outage season that I've had also not a lot of points for, especially in the middle part of the season. But if I'm going to get a spot and I'm at least in the hunt, if I'm going to get in the playoffs, I want to get in this way. Give me the number one team. They didn't have a terrible week, and we got a good win, so that made me happy. What happened in this game? How did you see it?
Well, I got to tell you, it's Cortland Sutton. To me, he should get comeback player of the year.
I agree.
Because he is just unbelievable.
Yep.
I think unfortunately for Huey, what looked like a really good matchup for Justin Herbert, shocking to me. He only had 9.45 points.
Yeah.
And, it really didn't do much. Shakir didn't do much. So, that was unfortunate. Of course, he had a nice outing from Rico. But, you just had a really good week. I mean, Mixon was Mixon. Pickens didn't get thrown out of the game somehow. Was able to get 16 points.
Yeah, that's great.
And the guy that you must love having back is Mike Evans.
Yes, Mike Evans is a huge, and he's playing like Mike Evans. I think when he was healthy earlier, he was playing a little bit in the shadow of Godwin, and now that it's him and Kate Otten are running all over.
Yeah, Bucky Irvin, those three. So they're the show now, which is great.
Yep. If Cortland Sutton isn't the MVP of the Knuckleheads in the second half of the season, the overall for the season MVP for Knuckleheads is Joe Mixon. Kyle, I have to subtract Joe Mixon from the lineup for this coming week because of the bye. Is that the Achilles heel? Is that where Knuckleheads is going to break down this week?
No, I still think Knuckleheads has a pretty solid team. Is Brees Hall going to go, though? He's questionable.
Yeah.
Brees Hall did not practice today, but I don't think he practiced on Thursday last week.
Yeah, I don't
he
think
would have
he's going to
practiced today,
go.
or it doesn't seem like he's going to go. So then that's a little scary for the Knuckleheads. You're going to have to go with Singletary and Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of need Brees Hall this week. Maybe he'll figure it out.
He might play. I mean, he practiced limited. I think he was out Wednesday, Thursday, and then practiced limited Friday, and then had a full day before the game. Saturday before the game, they said he was going to probably go. So he didn't perform very well, but I think we'll see him. On the other side of the ball, Huey Lewis, as Walt said, he gets let down by Justin Herbert. But boy, that team still finds ways to put up points. Saquon Barkley looks still ridiculous, and who saw 22.3 points coming from Rico Dowdle?
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
And I think, for him, I mean, Barkley, the start was slow. He didn't do much. And then, he ends up with his normal 20 points. And, for you, I think, Brees Hall is not the guy you're really riding anyway. So Tyrone Tracy had another good week. So I think you plug him in. It's really going to hurt.
He's just got to hold on to the ball. For a rookie, he's got to hold on to the ball.
100%. Yep.
And that's it. Kyle brings up a great point. I lost the Isaac Garendo sweepstakes that went on this week as 3 teams threw all their waiver money at this player, and one of the teams had the most. Kyle, you lost. You put all of your $50 in. I put all of my $34 in, but we got outbid by no lineup.
A guy with a nice large bankroll that was able to take it.
I mean, I assumed we were both all three were going to get outbid by Huey, but I guess he didn't care about our boy Isaac. So
I mean, I don't know if we'll do this as a bid or just address it now, but Huey has not spent a dime of Fab money on a single player this
Yeah,
year.
and his bench shows it. I mean, like,
His
this
lack of
guy's going to
bench.
make the playoffs with 3 empty bench spots.
Number one team.
I
Number
don't-
one team not spending any money.
That alone is an amazing feat.
It's pretty impressive.
I got no words. Well, I will, but not right now. I will have a lot of words.
All right, where are we going next?
Let's talk about, another big victory for the Pantloads. Maybe, is this your highest score of the season? 155?
That is my season high.
Look at that. Great time to pick it.
Yo, if you're going to get hot, this is the time.
Right direction.
So,
Yep.
where are you? Can you hear us, Kyle?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there you go. All right. This is 155.5 to 143.3 Sotie Pantloads, picking up the huge 7th victory and denying the rifle the 7th victory. Kyle, tell us about your game this week.
It was definitely, the Thanksgiving games are always kind of funky because it's just so spread out. So the pain really never ends throughout the whole holiday break here. But I mean, Tyreek getting 20. I started very well in that Dolphins-Packers game, so I felt pretty good. I was a little nervous I'll be honest, when Josh Allen got a passing and receiving touchdown on the same play. But then, and it just seemed like, what's his name? Zach Moss, or not Zach Moss. No, is it Zach Moss? What's his name? Oh, no.
Who the hell are you talking about?
James Cook.
Oh,
That's not Zach.
Yeah.
James Cook. He was running as much as he wanted to, really.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they took them all out for the fourth quarter. And I was like, oh, I guess this is how it ends. So I was nice to see my, week high or whatever, my season high didn't go unnoticed this week.
Yeah, Walt, he gets 20 points from Tyreek Hill. I just threw on the screen. This was only the second time this year that Tyreek Hill has hit 20 points in fantasy. Is this the time that Tyreek Hill begins to play like a first-round pick?
Well, if you saw 7 of those points for Tyreek Hill was on a pass that went off Jonnu Smith's hands, and somehow Tyreek found the ball and scored. So,
Oh, yeah, it was crazy.
yeah, I mean,
It was like garbage time, too.
yeah, it was exactly. So, no, I don't think this is 20 points from Tyreek's what we're going to see. But, I mean, he's a serviceable guy. So, he's a lot better than other number 2s or 3s. And, Kyle will be fine with him. That ain't going to hurt you. And unfortunately for a rifle, that really stunk. They took all the starters out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he was definitely going to win.
Oh, no doubt about it. Josh Allen could have easily had another 10 points along with Cook. Yeah. So, hey, I feel bad for the rifle. Another tough luck team.
That's tough luck. We're going to be talking about this owner in a minute. Jordan's weighing in on the chat. The Soaring Eagles are busy working out their newest signing, Willie Levi's. They picked up Levis on the waiver wire. They're teaching him the Bo Nix playbook, and they want the league to know that they are confident and that they are the best team in the league. Hashtag Soaring Strong. And they want sympathy for the bullshit from last week. So
whatever helps you sleep at night.
I mean, you could say all you want, you're the best team, but you had 116 points, which would have, only other game you probably would have been in would have been worst team ever. So, but yeah, let's talk about that game because that was quite a thriller.
It was something. This was a 116.1 to 116.0. This was a win for the Beans. We're gonna
Who's joining
these
us?
calls and joining us on the line now. The owner of No Lineup Needed. We just got done talking about their big victory over worst team ever. Christian's on the line. Christian, how are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
We're doing
Hey,
okay.
Christian.
We just jumped into
Hey, Walt.
right. It's great to hear.
I know.
Yeah, right.
I'm back.
We're just getting into the game that we were all deeply invested in because it was such a fun game, that Denver and Cleveland game. Walt, tell us about the drama.
I got to tell you. You got to think Denver's defense was going to do pretty good because Jameson Winston is, he's a walking interception. So there was no doubt in my mind they were going to get points via that. But, to get 2 defensive scores in, how much time was it? 6 minutes?
Yeah.
At the end of the game
I
and
know.
potentially a third one, And it was the most insane ending of
it was so wild.
a fantasy game I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
You know, it was hard. I was just dumbfounded just watching that unfold in front of my eyes. It was incredible. That's why you do this, because I feel bad for Jordan, because I would not have want to been on the end of that.
No, that happened to me in another league. The .1 situation, and it's brutal. Christian, you were watching this game, you were weighing in. Was that one of the, for us, because we were disconnected, one of the best games that we've seen this year?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I just think it's like incredibly tragic, and I think Tony definitely signed a deal with some vile entity to pull out a win like that.
Yes. Yeah, I don't disagree. Kyle, was any offline pain expressed from the owner of Soaring Eagles during that debacle?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Soren threatened homicide. I think he said he was going to kill Tony. So I think he was a little upset.
Yeah, as well he should have been. The game, 116 points, we can all agree that's not where we want to necessarily be. Everyone likes to be over the 120 mark. Both of these teams fell short, but his team did not have a bad showing. TJ Hawkinson was a little off, but he still gets good games from Devon Ashawn and Drake London, and it's just a kneel down.
Yeah.
For those that aren't understanding what we're talking about, these teams were dead tied at they were tied at 116.1, and the last play of the game was Bo Nix kneeling down to kill the clock, take victory formation, and that is a -1 yard carry for a quarterback, and that's what made the difference. Then Soren went from 116.1 to 116, and that's it.
I just, again, I feel bad for him. I just can't even imagine. And yeah, but he still has a shot, unlike me. So at least that's if you want to look the silver lining, there's still a chance. He's got good point total, and there's a couple teams that I feel, are in a tough spot. You have to win. Sotie has to win. But again, I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Yeah. I'm trying to just call up a couple of things here. But does that finish us out for?
No, I am going to take.
Oh, that's
my
right.
few
You've got
minutes
it. That's
of
right.
complaining.
We've got to get this out. Oh, I've been waiting for this. All right, let's go.
It's like Festivus is starting early for me. I got a lot of complaints about all of you, but again, you know what? I got to give credit. The Moppers came to play. He had a really good week, and that, I will say, always takes a sting out a little when you have someone that has a good week.
Yep.
And but for me, after Thanksgiving, CD got hurt, which was like such a BS injury, because he got hurt being taken down on a penalty, which was the worst. So, but I was like, hey, I picked up the Cowboys. I'm like, I made a good move there. They got 16. I'm like, that negated it. And then, the next day, Brock Bowers blew up. So I'm like, after those games, I'm like, I'm in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
And even going into the late game, Hubbard and Walker just really let me down. I mean, they combined for not even 9 points. If they would have had anything what they've been averaging throughout the year, either one of them, I would have won.
Hubbard's the worst game of the year for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I just didn't understand it against Tampa's D, which, has not really been that good. But so that was it. That's what did me in. Like I said, I would have I never saw it coming, honestly. And, congratulations to the Moppers. They, like I said, had a good week. But, I was okay with it. But then when we started doing bracketology, which we're going to go to, I've become unokay with it after seeing what, the point totals and where my team sits compared to everyone else. But,
it's tough. Whopper Moppers, though, they went 145 this week, and their win 152 last week. They've gone over 130 points 4 times since week 8. This team is really hitting the back end of the season really solid. So that's up on the screen, their schedule. These starting in the midpoint, these are some big totals. They had a little bit of a slip, and then he's right back to to scoring big points. So that's
Yeah.
a scary team heading into the playoffs.
And we were worried about him with the, with that slip.
Yep.
We were thinking, okay, maybe, this won't be the year. But no, they finished strong, and that's what a team that wins the title usually does. They come in hot,
Yep.
and then they steamroll through the playoffs.
Yep. Absolutely. Christian, when you've been watching these games, Whopper Moppers, I think we talked about it a little bit last week. I think that you, with no lineup, and Whopper Moppers right now are the two hottest teams heading into the playoffs. Agree or disagree?
Oh, I always no. Tommy's team's great. He has those two plug and play running backs, Bucky Irving and Chase Brown. That no one would have said that at the beginning of the year. No, his team's scary. One of the ones I do not want to face. I think I'm pretty good, but my team is streaky. To say in the nicest way, that they might get 40 or they might get 3 points.
Right. Right.
3 players.
Yeah. I still, you're humble, but I give you credit for definitely having definitely one of the most scary teams. So we've talked about all the games. The whole purpose of this show is that this is the last week of the regular season, and it is time to live up to our ESPN branded graphic that's on the screen right now. It's time for bracketology, people. These games last week were hugely impactful on who can make the playoffs, and we have the joy of having games scheduled this week that are pretty massive in terms of playoff implications. So, Walt, how do you want to do this? Do you want to start at the top and work our way down?
Well, we can. Whatever you want, but I kind of picked it apart in more of what games really is kind of the linchpins to the other games.
Yeah, so let's do that then. Instead of just going straight by the standings, let's look at next week's games,
right?
And see who's going to be able to do what.
Okay.
So where do you want to start?
So let's look at no lineup versus the rifle, because I think what we're seeing there is that although the rifle could get to 7-7 with a win, their low point total again is going to be a bit of a problem.
Well, that's a low point total in your world. However, in Kyle and my world, that is not a low point total.
It's definitely not, and
you play good defense, Commish.
Right.
Shame us.
Right. So I think I'm going to go on a limb just because of the point differential. No lineup gets in regardless of a win or loss. I feel less
with the points.
The points.
So
correct.
one 7-game winner is getting in. There
Correct.
are 4 playoff spots potentially, and hold on, I don't want to get this wrong. I think only 3 teams can go to 8-4. That may not be true. I think maybe we could have 4 8-game winners and then the bracket's closed out. But there could be a 7, and I'll double check that.
I think there's going to be a 7 after
I think so too.
Went through all this math. I think we're going to see a 7 game winner.
Because you can throw out Huey Lewis and worst team ever.
Yeah, so let's take that. That means nothing.
Yeah, no lineup could go 8-6, and they're automatically in 8 wins gets in. If they fall and they're still 7-6,
I think that's your
7-win team.
Right, because the point differential, again, anybody can make it up. Someone could have a 200 point, but I would feel fairly confident in Christian's shoes right now.
Right.
Christian, you feel the same way?
Yeah, I do. I mean, if I end 7-7, I think I will have the most points for and most points against.
Yes.
Right.
Which that just feels like bad luck.
So
I'm pretty confident even if I lose, I will be in.
So let's play that out. Then.
Let's look. Hold on one second. So Knuckleheads and Whopper Moppers both 7-6. So there will be one 8-win team. That's one.
Right.
Huey Lewis is already in at 9. No lineup 7-6 can get to 8. So that would be 2 potentially.
Correct. Yep.
But definitely we have one. Sotie Pantloads
can get to 8 as
can
well.
get to 8, and Boston Beans is already at 8.
Right.
So that's a potential 4 right there.
Correct.
And that's really it for those 8-win teams. So we could have 4 8-win teams.
We could.
but because one of them is the Beans and they're already sitting in a clinch playoff spot, there will be a 7. And if Christian loses, that will be him for sure.
No doubt about it. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I just need to get that out of
Again,
my head.
anything's possible, and this year in BARFF, nothing surprises me anymore. But I would say it would be unbelievable if that happened.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But let's play it out. Let's say the Rifle wins and they get to 7-7.
Yep.
Now let's move on to your game. One of you is going to 7-7
Yeah.
between you and the Moppers.
Yes.
Ideally, for the Moppers, I think they could potentially survive 7-7. Not really though with Christian, right? I think we're kind of saying that.
Yeah. If Christian loses that, then the 7-win game teams are pretty much done.
Right. So if you look at that, you need to win.
Must win.
That is no doubt about
Yeah.
it.
My points for is gross. Kyle, I feel that we sit in the same boat. Tell me what you think. Can you survive a loss?
I have done the number crunching. I can survive a loss. I would just need Soren to lose and the Rifle to lose, and I survive with a loss. And then if, say, the Rifle loses and Soren wins, if you lose commish and I outscore you by 24 points, then I can also get in with 7 wins.
Right.
So there's 2 avenues that I can get in with 7 wins.
There's some doing there, but yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. No, it's true.
It's like a 3-leg parlay.
Yeah, and I think your odds would be about the same winning that and getting in the playoffs like that way.
Fellas, I need you to win.
But that's possible. That's possible.
I need me to win too, brother.
I need you to win because I need that second bye.
The bye. Yeah,
If you
Christian's in play for the
Yeah.
bye.
Oh, that's a good point. We didn't even think of that.
Yep.
So
And I have to win. That's also kind of a up in the air thing because
Yep.
I'm starting Jameis Winston. So
Yeah.
now, if I take out Soren, that makes maybe the math a little easier for the other teams. Because Soren, with their high point total, if I beat them, they're no longer a threat, no matter what.
Yeah, that's
Any
a scary.
scenario.
Right. That's the other bad scenario for Kyle and I is if Christian wins and Soren wins, then Kyle and I are in trouble.
Yeah, well, I would say even the Moppers are in trouble because Soren has, let me do the math, 16 more points than the Moppers.
Right, but if I'm in a position to be in a tie with Soren, Moppers is 8, and they're in because they beat me. Yeah,
Right.
so-
Oh, good point.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, so the point totals are ridiculous. The differential.
Yeah.
And even Huey, top team, they have 1661. Like, compare them to Soren, it's only 24 points. That's nothing.
Right.
Huey, even against me, I got 1606. It's only 55 points between
I know.
me and the top team, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. If Christian loses, this is going to be a wide open now.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible for all this.
I mean,
if Christian loses, that's just a worst case
I
scenario.
don't think Christ
I
can miss
really
playoffs.
everything just rides on my ability to beat Jeff this week. That's
Yeah.
what I like
Yeah.
to hear.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think there's any really scenario where Christian would lose and not get in now because he has so many points for
Yeah.
it.
oh no, that's what we're saying.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
I'm
he's
saying he's the linchpin to like all these other scenarios.
Yeah. Realistically, there's 5 teams.
Yeah.
We had said earlier that there were 6 teams fighting for 4 spots, but the reality is there's really 5 teams fighting for 3 spots because Christian's in. He's
Yeah,
just
so-
hasn't officially locked it up yet.
That's right. We really got 3 spots left.
Yep.
Yep. So I hate to say it, Christian. I normally never root against somebody, but I kind of want you to lose just to mix
No.
it up. And
We don't want that.
no, we do because I want to see this all play out.
This is
On the tape,
Because
I want
Sotie,
Browns player, Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I am putting it down. Jameis is going to give me either 5 points or 50 points.
yeah, that's it.
that's what he does.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's interesting.
He can throw you 5 touchdowns and 2 pick sixes.
Yeah.
Same game.
So I mean, look, Sotie, you take care of business. It won't matter what anybody does, and that's the whole thing. This could get wrapped up real quick. You win, knuckleheads win. Christian, win or lose, doesn't matter. We're done. All the playoff spots are determined.
Yeah.
That quickly.
Fortunately, business is going a little tough this week for Sotie with these bye weeks. So,
Which, that's a whole different... I cannot stand bye weeks happen this
It's
late
so
in this
late.
season.
That's crazy.
know.
That's crazy. 6 teams
I-
are on by this week.
I know.
Isn't that ridiculous?
It's ridiculous. It's horrible.
My 2 best players are on a bye.
Yeah.
And
The
this
week
is
you
must
need
win.
them the most.
Must
Right.
win.
Right.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks ago was me. It just sucks these late, season buys. That's for sure. Especially this year when injuries have happened. There's like, oh, okay, it's a buy. Normally you just get somebody to stream. There's nobody.
Right.
It's garbage.
It was just Isaac Garendo.
Yeah,
That was it.
that's
That
it.
was the entire waiver play.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk about that yet? That I was the one who bid for him?
No, you
no,
were
you
not.
were not.
we bake, right?
No.
everybody.
So Christian, what
everyone
happened was Jeff bid a big 0 because he has 0, and so he shot his shot anyway. He lost. I put all of my money in, which was $34. I lost. Kyle put all of his money in, which was $50. He lost.
Okay.
And then you put all your money in, and you had the most money, my friend.
Yeah, and I didn't bother.
Well, no, because Huey did not spend a single dollar.
No, yeah, that's
We talked
we
about
haven't
that.
talked about that.
Yeah.
And I was like, he cannot be, I was like, I need to take this guy because this dude has about a 1% chance he plays my lineup, but none of y'all can have him.
Yep.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Smart.
That's part of it too, is the blocking aspect of it for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I have a theory that Huey likes Moneyball so much that he's taking after Billy Bean and trying to have the lowest payroll for his team.
But isn't it like it's just another element? First, I think that he runs psychological ops on all of us all season long.
Yeah.
But like it's a little bit of an extra bragging right. Like, hey, I beat you all. I didn't spend a dime. That's pretty good. I'll give him like you can swagger around with that if you have it.
or
With that and having the Stones to draft Saquon 3rd overall.
yeah, no, I know.
And it all was like bang.
But I'll say this: Huey might be thinking still first come first serve like waivers when you put in. Maybe he's not aware we're bidding.
No,
he
he
might have
knows.
forgotten.
He knows
Oh,
this
he's-
stuff. He's never in the dark. He's just
I like
doing his thing, and I
Yeah.
always love it.
I
always
like you
love
said, the psychological aspect is
Oh, yeah.
pretty devastating.
Oh yeah, I had said this earlier, and if Connor, if you're watching, this is 100%. If I get in the playoffs, I'm proudest that I did it by beating Huey
Yeah.
Lewis in the news.
No doubt.
That makes me happy.
So what does it look like? I'm going through this in my head. Let's say no lineup loses, but again, that clinches your 3rd playoff spot no matter what. So the Rifle's 7-7, and let's pretend both you and Kyle lose.
Then you'd have Moppers at 8 wins.
Right? So they're in, but
Yeah.
who's the other team in?
If Christian loses,
So it's Huey, Beans, Christian.
Soren, if Soren wins.
No, Soren loses.
Oh,
Soren.
okay.
so Soren loses, he's out.
Right. So Christian, the Rifle wins.
Rifle wins. So
Moppers wins.
yeah.
So there's
Then I'm
Moppers.
out. Then I'm out. The Moppers will be in with 8. Anyone with 8 is in.
Right. But we still have another 7-7 team, which would be you, Kyle, and the Rifle.
That Rifle has points for, I believe.
16, only 1,600.
Oh, yeah, they're behind. Yeah.
It's not that big. So I see
That's-
another
that's-
very interesting
I don't know.
scenario.
There would have to be a crazy score. Because
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I would have to make up a bunch
Yeah.
and also lose.
Yeah.
So I'd have to it'd have to be crazy. Let's see, how many you got me right?
It would. But we've had weeks someone score 180 points on a
we
game.
have.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of
I
possibility.
feel like that's a
If I
typical.
score 140, he was with 80. Then I guess.
Yeah, right. That's more likely, I would say. Yeah.
That's the story of this BARFF season is the 95-point winners in the week where people are putting up
Yeah.
160.
Yeah.
Losing.
Definitely.
Yep. There have been. Yeah, Christian's 100% right. We've seen a
Yeah.
lot of games this year where 140, 150, 160 point performances have lost.
No,
That's-
100%.
It's sad.
I don't think there's been a bigger rule change making a difference in a BARFF season than the decimal point scoring. Because we've had I think we've had 3 games decided by point.
Yep.
Soaring Eagles will attest to that. Yeah, they are retroactively voting against decimal scoring, I'm sure.
Oh, I don't know if you guys brought this up, but is this just karma for the deed that was committed?
Oh.
I was thinking that, Christ. I was thinking that.
Yeah,
I
mean,
I would
don't like to
say
put the bad
if
juice
I
back.
win this week, we may have to explore. It could be
He's
the
on a
curse.
bit of a skid right now.
Could be the
Plus 2.
curse.
The curse of the golden toilet seat.
It could be.
Wow, that would be insane.
We'll see how it goes.
This is, like Indiana Jones in the jungle trying to get the
Yep.
golden idol.
Yep.
Somewhere in a landfill is the golden toilet seat.
Yeah, he's on his hands and knees right now, searching through land.
I love it.
Like the incense shop in the apartment, just trying to get all the bad juju out of there before he starts his one.
He may go and sacrifice Tony to try to break the curse.
Burning sage in Kyle's parents' house.
Yeah. Tony will be in the landfill.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this so many good games. I mean, Huey and worst team ever can sleep. Like they just have to be interested in what everyone else is doing.
I mean, that's just you want to talk
BTR,
about.
you want to be spoiler. I know you, man.
Oh, you got that right, Spanko. I'm eyeing this. I've made some moves already. I already picked up the Chiefs. I'm looking at this. I'm not done yet. Again, CD. So if we want to talk about that game,
Yeah, let's do it.
yeah. So I like my matchups. Burrow against Dallas. I don't hate that. Kenneth Walker looks banged up, but CD's the really important one because Cincinnati's defense could be one of the worst in the whole league. Damn, that matchup is outstanding.
Yes, I agree.
And then I get Devontae Smith back.
Yep.
I got Bowers, who I think is gonna have a huge game. Everybody's favorite other tight end, Jonnu Smith's getting in. So I like my matchups.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and maybe he's going to switch it out. But anytime you're starting Will Levis, you're giving me a chance to win. That's all I'm.
He waited in the chat. He's teaching him the Bo Nix playbook. He's got Willie Levi's going to go.
Okay, hey, more power to him, man. That's what I'll say. So that alone, I think, and I think. After tonight, we're going to have a pretty good idea how this is going to pan out because you got Montgomery and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh, yeah.
They're going tonight.
Huge game for Soren to be taken in tonight.
So if they don't come anywhere near those projections, I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be the curse.
Yeah, the curse. We have gone down the line of a bunch of curses, but the curse of the golden toilet seat may very well be the best.
It may be real.
Yeah, wow. So, gentlemen, Kyle, how do you see this game going? This is a game with massive playoff implications for one of the teams. Who wins it this week? Soaring Eagles or Born to Run? Kyle, I'll start with you.
I'm not just saying this because I need Born to Run to win, but I actually kind of like Born to Run this week. I mean, the Detroit, he's got a lot of cooks in a couple of games. Like, he's got 3 guys in the Atlanta Minnesota game. He's got 2 guys going tonight. Like, there's a lot of games where he's got overlap. So like I don't usually like that because like games can be weird. So if Born runs around that 2 tight end set, which we might not have seen yet this year, I kind of like BTR.
All right, Christian, what do you think? Born to Run or Soaring Eagles this week?
This one's tight. I mean, I want to say, I gotta go with Soaring Eagles. I think his team's real good. Like, he has a scary team. Actually surprised he doesn't put like Jaden Reed in there to even get that concentration higher, just to make it really like a one game win lose scenario for him tonight. And
Right.
He's out, type of deal. But I think the Will Levis pick may work. Jacksonville sucks. That's all I'll say.
And so does Will Levis, though.
Yeah, but he can sling.
So
He can sling it. He's Jameis, except worse.
right.
I'll say he should have took Jameis. He should have took Jameis, actually.
But he's done all right the last 4 games. He's been averaging close to what they're projecting him. So, I think Soren sees that and says, okay, he's on the rise, and he has played a lot better, Will Levis, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But again, I just, that's a guy your whole season rides, and that's the guy you're going to trust. I don't know.
Well,
this is like the
Jameson would have been the guy I would have went for.
Yeah.
Because he's going to sling
he has
it.
hit what Anthony Richardson. So like, and QB waiver wire is horrible.
Yeah, I understand.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It was bad. Let me ask you this: the top scoring player in BARFF fantasy football last week, Jerry Jeudy, monster game. He goes over 40 points. Does that not was there nothing established last week with Jameis Winston that he finds his way into this lineup during a little bit of an issue with buys, etc.?
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of stacked on the position players. Like James Conner, Hawkinson, London, St. Brown, Montgomery, Achane. Like, it'd be tough to crack that. But I know Judy's been like, since Jameis has taken over, he's like wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
Or wide receiver 4. Or something ridiculous.
And again, I'll go, Winston would have made more sense to me because he could have stacked Jameson and Judy if he was really bold.
Yeah.
So
he sees something in Will Levis.
He sees something, and let's say he's the defending champ, so he's allowed to do that. He made all the right moves last year.
Yep.
So maybe this is one of those again. But
Agreed.
I think that we can move on. But the harder one is divisional games when you have Green Bay, Detroit. I don't love that for him.
Yeah.
I think those are always grinders.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Like I said, tonight's going to tell a lot, I think.
Yeah, that should be a good game too.
Yep.
All right, where do you want to go next?
Do we have to talk about Huey, worst team ever?
We don't.
Okay.
Let's not. I mean, we love them both. We love them both, but there's no point, and there's nothing that can happen in this game that's consequential unless Huey suffers a tremendous amount of injuries or some key injuries.
Yeah, right.
That's the only really thing of interest.
So we'll talk about it next week.
We'll talk about it next week. Yeah, we'll see
perfect.
if it happens.
All right, let's talk about the linchpin game of no lineup and a rifle.
No lineup and the rifle. This is going to be a great game. Right now, it's razor close in the projections. This is 7-6 in the lineup, taking on 6-7 Springfield Rifle. No lineup wins. They're in. Springfield Rifle wins. They need help.
Yep.
Yeah, Springfield Rifle. Is this not the worst thing? Springfield Rifle wins, and that by putting Christian as the 7-win juggernaut with the points scored, it hurts them either way.
Yeah.
That's tough. So where do you see this game going right now? It's a tight projection.
And Christian, basically, you got two games that are going to determine the outcome,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yep.
The Buffalo game against the Rams, and what Winston decides to do against Pittsburgh. I think you look at that, and that's going to tell you how this is going to come out.
All right, yeah, I agree.
Jameis, that Denver defense is lauded. Especially their secondary.
Yeah.
He put up like 500 yards on him.
I agree. I wouldn't be afraid of Pittsburgh's secondary with him.
And I think it could be a shootout, unlike the AFC North games of the past, because Wilson has also shown tendencies to just air the ball out, with Pickens especially. So I think this could be an actual, it could be like the Browns and the Broncos, like a game where it's just
100%.
touchdown.
Yeah.
You got to hope for the pick six.
I mean, Pittsburgh is coming off a 40-point game.
Yeah.
I look what Cleveland did. I agree with you. And what's even better is Winston in the snowball game, in the snow game played well too. So he's still going to throw no matter what conditions are 40 plus times, and you can't beat that no matter what.
Yeah. So who you got, Walt?
Whew. I gotta say, I think I like Christian. No lineup. I just got a feeling they're gonna pull it out. Kittle hasn't done anything. D-Hop, he's like an afterthought in my mind there in Kansas City. So I see weaknesses there. I look over at no lineup and I'm like, the only weakness you have is Neighbors is questionable. But if he plays, you got Drew Lock.
I think he'll play.
Drew Lock's competent. So I see no lineup winning.
Kyle, who you got in this one? No lineup needed, or the rifle?
I like no lineup. I think the rifle kind of has a similar situation to JJ. He's got three guys in like the Rams Buffalo game,
Right.
and he's got Jennings and Kittle. Like the 49ers have like been sucking. So
They're bad.
I would not want two pass catchers on that team right now. Like I don't even know if Trent Williams is going to play. They might be phoning in the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried for how Rifle's matchups look.
Yeah. We talked about Whopper Moppers in the second half of the season, and we mentioned no lineup needed in the same breath. No lineup has been one of the hottest teams, even though there have been some L's in there. Those have been the tough ones that we talked about. If we start in week 8, 154-point win,
Yep.
155-point loss in week 9 to a 173 from Huey Lewis. Win with 129, lose with 134 to 160.75 by Soaring Eagles. And they put up 144 points last week. So this is a hot team coming in. Christian, your team seems to be scoring points. How do you feel? You win, you're in. Are you going to win this week?
I am cautiously optimistic. Like, I'm really going to be watching 2 games, as Walt said. Like, essentially, I have to have that Buffalo game on because both sides of the ball matter. And, like, the Rams, like, I just need Puka to, like, not catch anything. If he does that, I think I'm okay. I don't know. Something tells me that Jameis is going to do well by me.
Yeah.
And I might be on death warrant saying that or something like that. But I think I'll be in. And I think, and I'm confident. I'm confident I'll get that second bye spot because Kyle did me dirty early in the season by beating me by 1 point. He's going to get one. He's going to give me one by somehow defeating the Antichrist that is Coos is somehow winning. So I'm confident. I think that's my 2-leg parlay right there is the Antichrist is defeated and I somehow pull out a victory with Jameis.
I love it. Was that a 0.1 victory? I'm trying to jump back.
Oh, that was a 1 point.
1 point.
That was 0.1.
Let me take a peek
I don't
at
remember
that.
either.
I don't
Or it
remember.
might have been half point. I don't know if it was as close as the.
It was 0.3.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
That's pretty close. Yeah.
That hurts as much as 0.1.
Yeah, that was week 3, 106.8.
It was still like one play.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, all the drama. I love it. All right, so that's
Let's talk about your game now. Another huge one. This one I'm having a hard time
This is
figuring
going
out.
to be an interesting game. This is the Knuckleheads and the Whopper Moppers, both sitting at 7 and 6, and they both, if they win, they're in. And so this is exactly where you want to be in playoff time. You want that opportunity to get in, and you want to make your own destiny. And one of these teams is going to do it, and the other one is going to be in some difficult situations. So right now, the projections have it going handily in Whopper Mopper's favor. Walt, what do you see?
I see if the Moppers don't switch Brock Purdy out, he's just asking to lose. So I'm going to say that right now. There's better options on the bench, and the gall to bench Baker Mayfield for Brock Purdy. Now, he's got to be playing mind games with you. That's all I can figure what's going on.
I can't, how does Brock Purdy not have an injury designation? Didn't he have multiple injuries? Am I just thinking of...
No, he had the shoulder.
I thought he had the shoulder
Yeah.
problem, yeah.
So, I don't know. I think maybe he's probably thinking something over or something like that. You got, Mayfield's the 6th rated QB against the 13th.
Yeah.
The matchup against the Raiders, how could you not love that? So, but the 2 things concern me. Bucky Irvin's been huge.
He's been money, yeah.
And he has not practiced 2 days in a row.
I'm happy about that.
And so that's a big loss. And, every year there's a guy that sneaks under the radar that I look at and I'm saying, he can't be any good. And it's our friend Lad
McConkey. Right now, the
Go look what his
13th
position
ranked.
is.
13th ranked, 14 points of game he averages.
How is that even possible?
Yeah, and again in a year where the Chargers were supposed to just run the ball.
Exactly. So, but he also did not practice either. So if you take those 2 out of the lineup and you leave Brock Purdy in, I say the Knuckleheads win. Now you got some questionable on your own side, but I think Evans is a maintenance type of thing. I think he's, I don't see that being an issue. Myers, I don't know, has he been hurt a lot?
So Myers practiced in full on Tuesday, and I think something happened yesterday because now he's a Q. So I think he did something. I heard it was an ankle.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit worried about that.
So that's concerning.
Other options are crap. So
you almost, unfortunately, again, the bye is killing you.
Yeah.
Two of your hottest guys are on the bench.
Two best players.
Yeah. So that'll be huge too. If that doesn't, Brees Hall, that's another big blow. So, boy, if both of you lose two key players, this will be like the biggest toss-up I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It will be. So, I'm going to lead. Oh, boy.
It's a lot of check marks on that Whopper.
You guys are making it hard. Yeah. I look at, you got the Gibbs, Chase Brown, Justin Jefferson. That trio, I think, is better. So, I'm giving them Moppers the nod.
All right, that's one for the Moppers. Kyle, what do you think, Whopper Moppers versus Knuckleheads?
I probably do. I think just with no Mixon, Sutton, and we still don't really know about Brees Hall. You have a lot of Qs. I think I the Whopper. I'm not saying that because if you lose, it might help me. I generally do think the Whopper is probably just a little better.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Christian, what do you think, Whopper Moppers or Knuckleheads?
I'm going to go with Knuckleheads, and I'm going to throw some speculation in. I've been reading, and I saw an Instagram post from Jahmyr Gibbs that showed the Lions' calls when he wins the ball.
Yes, that's correct.
I think Dan Campbell might put him in the doghouse and go to the hard-nosed Dave Montgomery.
I like that. Yeah, I like
that's
that.
a Dan Campbell move.
Wow.
And so I think that he does not have any other option. You have to start Jahmyr Gibbs.
Well,
Right.
no matter what.
Yeah.
Right.
But I could see him having an underwhelming game, even if it's just double digits. But I think that could turn because, I don't know, I could see you living and dying by Brees Hall. Brees Hall could have 40 points, or he could look like the Brees Hall.
Yeah.
But I'll give you the Knuckleheads just on a little speculative bet there.
Or did they do that on purpose, Christian?
True.
Right.
Yeah, who knows?
Right.
Okay.
I did see some people say that they're going to keep the calls the same because people are expecting them to switch.
Right.
No one would expect them to keep the same. So,
Yeah.
let's see.
That's interesting. I don't know that that's a Dan Campbell move. I think more of a Dan Campbell move is you put stuff on social
You better
media.
go play your ass off, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Yeah. Here, you're going to watch Monty play for the first 3 series all by himself.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Amen. I completely agree.
All right, what's next?
Oh, let's talk about the Pantloads in an uphill battle.
Yes, this is Boston Beans, our second place team at 8-5, taking on Sotie Pantloads, currently in the last playoff spot, 6 with a 7-6 record. Right now, the Boston Beans are projected to win this one handily. Kyle, I'm going to start with you. What do you think? This is a pretty outrageous projection, 20-point favor for the Beans.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Might be my lowest projection, my BARFF history. I don't know if I've ever been at 112. It's definitely a rough week, but I also think I'm getting undershot with some of the projections. Jordan Love only projected 16.7. Caleb Williams did good against the Lions D, so I'm actually think Jordan Love's gonna have a pretty good day. Gets him throwing picks. I don't see why I think he's only get 16 points.
Yeah.
Even with Jacobs, he hasn't gotten less than 20, projecting 17. So, same with, Soren. This game tonight is going to have, huge implications for the rest of my matchup. But I do agree with Christ that, you got to think the Beans, whatever deal they made, probably is going to run out at some point. And I think it's going to be, hopefully, right after the week where they had a heartbreaking win against Soren Eagles, they'll have a heartbreaking loss against the Pantloads. So, I'm going to go with me, obviously.
All right, well, what do you think this week?
It's going to be, like Kyle said, tonight's game's going to mean a lot. I also think, like he was saying, Pacheco at 11.3 is undervalued as well. I see him getting in the end zone this week. And Smith the Jigba, too. He's coming on.
He's been hot.
He gets a lot of targets.
Yeah, thank you, no lineup. I appreciate it.
I realized that was probably the worst trade, one of the worst trades I've ever made, because I did it purely on a tactical basis, right? He was never getting into my lineup. He had one big week. I'm like, hey, I'll sell him because I'm going to running back for 1 week. And then he goes like that. I'm like, well, he would actually probably play for Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I would trust him over Wilson at this point.
I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
don't want to see if he ends up in the playoffs because I have a feeling JSN would beat my ass for making such an idiotic play. But I also think Tyreek at 13, the Jets defense is not good anymore. They have packed their bags this year.
Yeah.
That defense
It's not top play, I don't think.
and so I think Tyreek is also undervalued at 13. So I'm liking Sotie, and I already put my hat in the Sotie. So I got to stand with it.
yeah. So I'll tell you why I don't love Sotie and
Jamar
Jamar.
Pat Fryer.
No, well, that definitely. And Jamar Chase against the Cowboys D. Oof. That could be real.
Higgins against the Cowboys.
Well, right. So it could work out to your fair. I guarantee Burrow's going to carve up the Cowboys' pass defense, unless they can get some kind of pass rush on them. So that's going to be huge. How the outcome of that game. Hurts against Carolina. I do, like you said. I think after tonight, if Love doesn't live up to his projection or Jacobs, the Pantloads will be. They're going to be in trouble, I think. Yeah.
Is this the Monday night game this week?
No, that's tonight.
That's
Detroit.
Oh,
Green Bay's
yeah.
tonight.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was
So after tonight,
Monday is Dallas.
Right.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
So we're gonna have some good clarity, I think, after tonight.
Nice.
But you never know. It's anything's possible.
Yeah, there's so many times where you think you have one game on Thursday and then the rest of your
100%.
team's done.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think also there's another thing. Well, you talked about big point scorers in Thursday night games. I think if they give you that, it's almost a curse itself. CD gave me 40 in the championship last year I lost.
Yeah.
Rock Powers gave you 31 on a Thursday or a Friday. You lost.
Yep.
So, hey,
Exactly.
there might be something around that of like, if someone pops off on a Thursday, it might not be good for your team in the end.
Totally agree.
That's a great observation because didn't the Beans had a huge Thursday night too?
Yeah.
I think against me.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe success on Thursday night equals loss.
Nah,
We're gonna have to
always.
look into
Right.
that. Yeah.
100%.
Wow,
Totally
that's
agree.
impressive. That's impressive. All right, where do you want to go next?
That's it. We're done.
Oh, we are finished. That's right, because we said we
Wait,
didn't
Mitch,
talk-
who's your pick? Sotie versus.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Sotie versus the Beans. So Jamar Chase has an ankle injury, which I don't know that he's not going to play, but I don't think he practiced today. I think it depends on how Aaron Jones does tonight, or not tonight. Aaron Jones does in his game against Atlanta. I like Sotie this week, even though ESPN projections don't. Jackson Smith and Najibba, top 10 wide receiver. I think he continues that and goes big.
Agreed.
It's really, for me, Pacheco. Pacheco has the game he's supposed to have. If he even meets projection, you want him to go 15-16. I think that's what he'll do, and the Sotie will win. If Pacheco goes really low, then we'll see. Right now, I'm going Sotie.
I think DeAndre Swift is kind of suspect. I think the Magic's worn off.
Well, he didn't practice.
Yeah, he's another one.
He's another iffy guy.
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks, too, he has not looked as good as he once did. He's also getting a lot less snaps because they're throwing the ball more.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
that might work out for the Beans, though, because Chubb, to me, is starting to come on a little, and that's who he's got on the bench. So
He's getting healthy.
yeah, so you never know. That could end up being
that's
a
what's going on,
plus.
but David's still throwing like 60 times a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And T. Higgins, a little bit maligned on the show, but looking at his performance, before his injury, he went 29 points one week and was double digits 3 other weeks. Since the injury, 30.8 in his comeback game, and then the bye, and then 17 last week. I mean, you're basically getting Jamar Chase.
He's a stud.
Production out of
He's
T.
a stud
Higgins.
if he can stay on the field, which, like Sotie said, he's getting healthy at the right time. So I hear you, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's we've played out the scenarios, and
Just in time for the game to start.
It's time for the game to start. Yeah, this was a terrific look. One of our best bracketologies and one of our best seasons coming down to the wire for so many teams.
Yeah.
So many teams still in play, and then it's a little bit of fun to play spoiler, and you could have a huge impact on this week. So
if we're not making the playoffs, I'm still going to be, it's going to be not like last year where I was like, it was over.
Yeah,
and it
it's
didn't
over
matter.
too early.
So at least, to actually have an impact is nice to me, no matter what, at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Although I will say, my team deserves to be in the playoffs, but whatever. I just let it go.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Mr. Chuba Hubbard starting on your team.
Go look at his rank.
He's been a top 10 running back this year. Yeah, this is just last week was a problem.
Right, the week I needed on the lows. That's what he deserves to be.
All right, gentlemen, anything for the good of the order before we turn it over to the Thursday night game? All right.
Go Pantloads. That's all I got.
Next week, I think the two co-hosts they should each bring their own biggest fraud in the playoffs and debate it.
The biggest fraud of the playoffs. So let's try to remember that so that we can take a look at the playoff field and pick the biggest fraud.
Well, Christian won't be much of a conversation if the Pantloads make it, but I'll try to keep an open mind and see if I can see others.
We're heating up, buddy. We're heating
up.
All right. So that's it. That was Bracketology. Well, it was great to see you.
Yeah, it's
coming
great.
all the way down.
Look forward to next week.
Yeah. When the playoffs will be determined starting upon kickoff in a couple minutes. So thanks to everyone. And
good luck, everyone. Big game.
All right. Thanks, Commit. Thanks, BTR.
Good night,
You got
guys.
it, buddy.